We focus now on science and the importance of science for the economic development.
Dr. Faouzi Bekkaoui, Director of the National Institute for Agronomic Research, thank you again for being with us today. What would you tell us about the different aspects of R&D, research and development, within the Argania, and what are the actual projects that you are working on, especially on the domestication of the Argan tree?
Thank you. First of all, research on Argan is conducted in several universities and research institutions, including INRA in Morocco. There are some of the research collaborations that are done with the other countries. There are many themes or activities of research. I will simplify them in 5 topics. First is ecology or biodiversity. Second is the characterization of the Argan tree by itself. There's the subject of domestication that you've mentioned. There is all the aspects related to valorizations and how to make this a valued product, and finally the socioeconomic aspects of Argan. On the subject of biodiversity, it has been mentioned by my colleague, Mr. Houmi, so I won't say very much except to say that the research has resulted in some interesting observations. For example, within the ecosystem of Argan, there are more than 400 species of plant, aromatic, and medicinal.
Wow.
So it's not only the value of Argan, we can also benefit from other species that are growing with Argan. Another interesting observation is that scientists at INRA has found a new ant that doesn't exist anywhere else for the moment that's specific to Argan. It was found in the city of Tamri, and it has the name now Tamariensis.
It's not very far from Agadir.
Yes.
I think it's between Agadir and Essaouira, in between,
Yes.
the road in between, right?
So that's the first aspect. The second is in relation to the specificity of Argan. What makes Argan very specific? And now we're looking at the characterization at different level, morphological, physiological, and genetic. Morphological is what makes, for example, Argan, we can see all kinds of different shapes of leaves, shapes of fruits, shapes of trees. What makes these characteristics? One of the interesting progress that has been made in Morocco in collaboration with other partners is the sequencing of the genome of Argan. So the genome tells us about the sequence of the DNA and will explain why Argan can withstand 50 degrees, for example, why it has long roots. So these studies are very, very important in that respect and could be the subject of many thesis and PhD work. Another interesting aspect from this aspect of genetics is we can develop DNA markers that can identify specific trees. We can identify 2 trees by their DNA fingerprints, and that's an important part in managing the trees and the species of Argan. The third aspect is domestication, which is a very important aspect in terms of developing higher value trees and domestication. We're in the very, very early stages of domestication of Argan. For instance, palm trees have been domesticated for years, and we have some varieties that have names like Mjhoul or Boufgouz.
The dates.
The dates, yeah. We don't have that yet in Argan, but we will get there. INRA has recently registered 6 varieties of Argan, and we're in the process of multiplying this and testing them with the objective of getting higher value product. So when we talk about multiplication, if we take the seeds and we sow the seeds, we will get a lot of variability. That variability is good. It's good in the natural forest, but it's not as good when a farmer wants to make a high value product because he needs trees that are producing higher amount of seeds, a better quality oil. So that's where domestication comes in. So that's another aspect. The fourth one is the valorization, and there's a lot of research that's been done on this aspect of valorization. Here we're looking at the biochemical aspects of the oil, for example. What makes Argan a high value product? Because it's rich in several products, including fatty acids, unsaturated fatty acids, tocopherols, vitamin E, polyphenols. All of these have been shown that they have very high benefits for the health, for the skin, even sometimes in lowering some high level of cholesterol, etc. So there's a lot of research going on in that aspect. Now in valorization, it's not only the oil, there's all the other aspects of what's left when we extract the oil. Those can be used also for other aspects. Finally, the socioeconomic studies is also an important part of the research. And here we are looking at understanding, for example, how we can market Argan in a better way, how some of the cooperatives are working, and how to make higher value for the cooperatives that are really the basis in developing Argan. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's done now. Now there are, in perspective, there are several new areas of research that people were going to work on, including the use of precision agriculture, for example. There are tools that are new methods that could be used to follow and understand better the Argan. Looking at the soil also is an important aspect. We don't know very much what's in the soil around Argan. So those are some of the examples and where we are in terms of
can
research.
we say that, like, R&D, research and development in Morocco is doing good compared to other countries? With same criteria, of course. We are not comparing ourselves to other countries where the research and development gets tons and tons of budgets, but we compare ourselves to comparable countries.
Okay, first of all, the output of research can be in several ways, and two of the main parameters that we can look at are scientific publication in impact journals and patents. So on the first aspect, on the scientific publication, what one of my colleagues, Dr. Modaffar from the University of Qadi Ayad, has done studies and shown that the number of publications, first of all, has increased significantly in the last 20 years, and in particular, since the start of the Congress of Argan. This is a very important event that's organized by UNZOA and INRA and other institutions, and it brings a lot of scientists and researchers. So since then, we are publishing a lot more. What we, by the way, that event is in December, so we invite other colleagues that are interested to know more about Argan to participate in that event. What we found also is that when we look at the number of publications, Morocco comes number one. So more than 30% of the publications are from scientists in Morocco or other collaborators in other countries. On the other hand, France comes at, I believe, in number two. On the other hand, when we look at patents, which are a vehicle or a way to make commercial products, interestingly, China is number one. And Morocco,
within the patents,
within the
like
patents.
The rights into one specific aspect or...
Yeah, so they look at very much at the uses of cosmetics, so they developed a lot of patents. We're looking just at the numbers here of patents.
Of course, China is number one here for patents.
And Morocco comes with France in number two. So this is an area where I would say we need to make more efforts, and we need to encourage our students to think more patents before publication. And it's not incompatible to do that. It's a way of planning their work. And I think there are a lot of opportunities here for our students to develop these patents, and which can be the basis of a startup, of a company, of a new product.
Exactly.
So here there is some work that needs to be done, and we need to help our students in training and thinking more patents.
And this is your mission as
one of our
a
missions here is to focus
institute.
more on patents. Effectively, that's correct.
And making researchers entrepreneurs and startuppers.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, why not?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, this is a very old tradition and heritage that is Argan, but the new generation is supposed to develop it and make it with more added value. Even we're talking about cooperatives, of course, but also maybe startups and licorns that can go elsewhere, all over the world. Thank you very much, Dr. Bekkaoui. Thank you for all this beautiful information you gave us today about the Argan. And